The Leica M5 is probably my favorite 35mm camera of all time. It is my camera grail. I've been trying to get one for years, and long story short, I've bought two and I returned two because they were in absolutely horrendous condition in both times. I don't know if it's a thing about buying cameras from Japan. I've also bought two lenses from Japan. One of them was perfect, the other one had terrible issues. The mount essentially was broken on what was supposed to be a mid lens. So I don't know. And if you're not familiar with it, I'm just going to give a brief overview of its history off the top of my head. Leica M5 is a 35mm rangefinder that was released in the early 1970s. It was the first Leica rangefinder to have in-camera metering, or rather through-the-lens metering, with this funky little lever swinging arm thing that came out. And it worked really well because it was technically a spot meter. And on a sad note, it was the last Leica rangefinder to be made entirely in Germany. So when it came out, it wasn't all that popular, and it got a bunch of hate because it wasn't traditional Leica, right? It was big, it was bulky, it wasn't really what people expected. And Leica was trying to sort of catch up to SLRs and cameras with in-body metering. Leicas are supposed to be small, they're supposed to be somewhat light, even though, yeah, they're made of brass, sure. Personally speaking, I don't think it's heavy, and I don't think it's big. I actually like it. I like the fact that it's big. This is my beloved M3. And I don't have the biggest hands in the world, but to me, the M5 size was amazing and perfect. Needless to say, the new body was not really well received. I think what it comes down to is the fact that the camera was a little bit ahead of its time. It's probably the most affordable, no, it is the most affordable metered Leica out there. And part of the reason why it's big is it very much looks like an M body with a meter kind of just slapped on top. And it kind of feels that way too. But if you love it, then you love it. I think it was the first camera to be available in the black chrome finish. It was discontinued, I think, 1975. It was not a successful camera in terms of how well it sold, but the way it functions in real life, I mean, incredible. Probably the fastest Leica in actual practical everyday use that there is out there. Maybe not the M7. I love shooting rangefinders. I have an M3 that I'm never going to let go of. It's very simple. It just works all the time. It's purely mechanical. There's tons of replacement parts out there, options to get it serviced, and so on. Kind of hard to put into words how good the overall form is. Maybe if you don't like just the physical appearance of a big camera, I can understand not liking it, but as far as how it feels in the hand, where my hands fall, or where my fingers fall on the shutter button, and especially that shutter speed dial is incredible. The film speed selector, or the ISO ASA dial, is just beautiful. It's this like retro, just old school analog design, and I just enjoyed messing with it. The way the shutter dial overhangs in the front, yeah, this is an M3. That shutter dial, hard to use when you've got it up to your eye, right? You have to kind of go up here, change your grip and everything. It doesn't have aperture priority mode, but it's not conducive to shooting with an aperture priority approach. With the M5, you can just keep it up to your eye and just change your shutter speed with your index finger, and you're just like bam bam shoot, bam bam shoot, bam bam. It's just so fast. It's essentially aperture priority without aperture priority mode. You just keep your aperture where you want it, and then you can adjust both at the same time, like really fast on the fly, which brings me to my next point. It's got what is essentially a match needle metering system. So you have your shutter speed and a needle that tells you your proper exposure with the spot meter, which is so good for shooting one of my favorite film stocks, which is slide film. And really there's only one slide film left out there, and that's Ektachrome. That shutter dial makes it so much faster than any other M-body out there that's not an M7. The viewfinder is big. It's really great for 35mm, which is what I tend to shoot a lot of the times. It just covers most of your needs. I'm not the biggest fan of 50mm or 28. I prefer 24, 35, and I guess 80, 85. Of course, the meter requires that you have to get a wine cell battery or a converter. That's just a very simple fix. It's barely even a problem. It's a different form factor and a different experience from pretty much every other Leica, and it's one that I just absolutely am drawn to. It's also got the best advance lever I've probably ever used. It just fits around your thumb. You just kind of, it doesn't get in the way. It's always there. You can just throw it through muscle memory. And as to why I'm holding an M3 right now and not an M5, well, like I said, I returned it twice. And the problem with the M5 now is it is no longer as affordable. The prices have definitely gone up, and good examples with reliable serial numbers, bodies that are in usable condition with working meters, and clear viewfinders are pretty much non-existent, I think. I bought both of my M5s from Japan. Like I said, I had to return both. I've yet to find another M5 that's in proper working order. It doesn't need an immediate service, and it's not full of fungus and a rangefinder patch that works. So the first M5 I bought, I pretty much took it out of the box. I threw the lever, and I immediately was like, wow, this sounds just absolutely crunchy. This is definitely broken, and it went back immediately. The second one I bought, you know, mint. There's no haze, there's no fungus, there's no nothing, you know, no separation. The rangefinder patch is clear. Okay, I asked the seller before I bought it. So I opened up that second M5. I dropped the shutter, and I'm like, okay. It sounds within a reasonable tolerance. I put it up to the light, and I'm like, immediately the rangefinder patch, there's just like trees growing through it. It's just fungus. I decided to take it out. All right, I pop in a roll of Fujicolor 200. I went down to Hudson Yards. By the time I came back, I basically had no shots. I got the film developed. I basically paid for a roll of film and development that came back with nothing on it. I messaged the guy, and I was like, come on, like, be honest. Did you even look at this thing before you sent it to me? And the guy's like, oh, yeah, please send a return. It never sends me a return label. So I contact eBay, and this is the funny part. They escalated the case to like their expert level people, and the guy's like, just keep the camera. He didn't send you a label. It's yours. And I'm like, what? The guy's like, keep the camera. If he doesn't send you a return label, he looks like he's refunding your money already. Just keep it. We don't care. You don't care if he sent you a bad camera. And I'm like, you know, the service cost of this camera, it's going to be quite a bit of money, and there's really one or two specialists left that even work on it, and there's not all that many spare parts. Sir, we don't care. Keep the camera. You have your money back. As far as we're concerned, that's the end of it. If he raises a fuss, there's nothing he can do. The money and the camera are yours if you want to keep it. If you want to return it and pay for the shipping, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. And I'm like, man, I don't want that. I don't believe in this stuff, but I don't want that kind of bad energy hanging over me, you know. And so I decide to contact the guy. I'm like, look, you're going to send me a shipping label, and I'm going to send you this camera back. I don't have to send it to you. I want you to have it back, and I don't care what you do with it. I want it away from me, you know. I don't want that bad karma. But anyway, he sends me a label. I send him the camera back. Oh yeah, by the way, the meter was completely dead. I put a brand new wine cell in there, which are not cheap, and nothing, just a dead meter. So I don't know if I'm going to ever end up with a working M5, and I'm not sure I care that much anymore. I'm gonna get a line meter, and I'm gonna stick it on my M3, and I'm gonna shoot my slide film and shoot black and whites and just call it a day. I guess the next video coming up is going to be about the Leica Q, the Leica Q2, and how I got over my lust for the Leica Q2, because I did used to own a Leica Q, the original. I regret selling that camera every day, so I think that's the next video. I know I'm very slow with these, but I'm trying to get faster. But this process takes a lot of work.